So there is now just a couple of days left till the release of version 2.2 and the highly anticipated Cantarella, which I'm sure many players are going to be picking up simply due to her design and regardless of her kit. Although for those that are more interested in exactly what our first Havoc Rectifier character is capable of, as of recent Cantarella's kit and weapon were officially revealed, and so with that, I'll be breaking down Cantarella's full kit, whether her signature weapon is a must pull, then I'll wrap it up with Cantarella's overall value, and for those that are a bit unsure if you should summon for Cantarella. Before we get into it, as always, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe for more WutheringWaves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Also, just one more thing. I'm happy to announce I've recently partnered with one of the biggest VPN services in the world, NordVPN. Whether you're a small business or simply an individual that values the data being secure whilst browsing the web on multiple devices, NordVPN is able to offer military-grade encryption to protect your data, incredibly fast speeds for uninterrupted streaming, access to content from anywhere in the world, reduced ping and lag with optimized gaming servers, and much more. As of now, NordVPN have a special campaign that provides 3 months for free on top of the subscription you purchase. But if you do go through my affiliate link, it will provide an additional month for free automatically at checkout. So if you are interested in the very best VPN service out there or intend to simply renew your subscription, you may as well go through my affiliate link that I will link in the description of my videos from here on out. Now, a bit similar to Brant, Cantarella's kit enables her to be quite valuable overall, since she is another character that is considered as a cross between a sub DPS and support, given she has an outro skill and other abilities similar to current top sub DPS characters, along with having the ability to heal, which alone does allow her to hold quite a lot of long-term value. Now, again similar to Brant, Cantarella does specialize in dealing basic attack damage, but the standard 3-hit basic attack string itself won't really do much aside from providing stacks of trance towards the forte gauge, which will then grant access to the Mirage state when filled and an enhanced version of the standard basic attack. The same does apply for the standard resonant skill, since it doesn't provide much aside from dealing damage and providing a stack of trance. But whilst in the Mirage state, the resonant skill will be capable of a whole lot more. Now, speaking of the Mirage state, once Cantarella has filled the forte gauge with 5 stacks of trance, which can be accumulated through either completing the standard basic attack string, casting the intro skill, the resonance liberation, or simply whilst in water, the delusive dive heavy attack would then be available to activate, and on activation, Cantarella deals havoc damage and enters Mirage, which lasts for 8 seconds and provides Cantarella access to much more powerful abilities, but also has a unique effect of changing the environment to seem like it's underwater. Now, whilst in the Mirage state, Cantarella will be able to float around, and the standard basic attack becomes basic attack Phantom Sting, which are pretty quick to pop off and can be dealt whilst in mid-air. Also, as you complete the Phantom Sting basic attack string, it does trigger 3 coordinated attacks, which is of course nice bonus damage and would benefit someone like Jianxin considerably, given she does gain stacks of forte through allies dealing coordinated attacks. Though more importantly, each Phantom Sting basic attack will consume a stack of trance and in exchange obtains a point of shiver along with healing all allies, which allows Cantarella to be played as a support similar to Brant, or as a sub DPS whilst increasing the survivability of the team. In addition, Cantarella's dodge counter and mid-air attacks will also switch into their alternate variations and can consume stacks of trance along with gaining points of shiver, which is great since it means even if an enemy bombards Cantarella with a bunch of attacks in quick succession, dodge counters can still heal and allow you to switch off from Cantarella the moment you have used up her healing capabilities through consuming trance. Now, just like the basic attack as mentioned, the resonant skill will also have an enhanced variation whilst in the Mirage state. Completely new yet slightly odd, Flickering Reverie deals havoc damage to an enemy and sends them into the hazy dream state, but the skill will be considered as an echo skill. Spoiler alert, but the skill being considered as an echo skill is going to be due to the signature weapon, essentially to make it more niche for Cantarella and for players to feel more inclined to pick it up, With that, it doesn't affect Cantarella herself that much as she specializes in dealing basic attack damage. But the weapon's flexibility is a different story that I will be going over shortly. Now, sending enemies into Hazy Dream is another unique effect as it does slow down their movement speed for a whole 6.5 seconds. Then when Cantarella deals damage to an enemy whilst in Hazy Dream, it will trigger Jolt, which is pretty much a burst of havoc damage considered as basic attack damage. So from what we can see for now at least, the reduction in movement speed seems to be quite significant, which means just like every other character that can slow down or stagnate enemies, Cantarella's enhanced resonance skill will be extremely valuable as it provides you with more time to reposition and to avoid any incoming attacks. Maybe even slow down enemies from running away so much in WutheringWaves so that you can actually clear it. Alongside that, the damage dealt from Jolt I assume will be a considerable amount of damage for a sub DPS, especially since only Cantarella will be able to trigger Jolt, and if any other character attacks an enemy within Hazy Dream, the effect is removed and Jolt wouldn't be triggered. Now, Cantarella does in fact have two different variations of the resonance skill whilst in the Mirage state. Flickering Reverie will be available as soon as Cantarella enters Mirage, but when Cantarella holds 3 stacks of Shiver while still being in the Mirage state, Flickering Reverie becomes Perception Drain, and on activation, all stacks of Shiver are consumed and Cantarella will deal a burst of havoc damage considered as basic attack damage, along with sending enemies into Hazy Dream, and will heal all allies. So for a sub DPS to have 3 different variations of a resonance skill in total, it's fair to expect that the second and especially the third variation to deal considerable damage, which definitely makes this a stacked ability given the utility it holds alongside dealing damage. With that, once you have dealt Perception Drain and consumed the remaining stacks of Trance, Cantarella will then exit the Mirage state if the 8-second timer hasn't already ended it. Now, regarding the Resonance Liberation, alongside dealing damage considered as basic attack damage, diffusion will be inflicted on all allies and the liberation itself will also be considered as casting an echo skill. With diffusion being applied to allies, their attacks once on the field will summon Dreamweavers to deal a coordinated attack considered as basic attack damage. The total number of Dreamweavers that can be summoned is 21, and the total duration of diffusion will end with utilizing all Dreamweavers or after 30 seconds. So very similar to Zhezhi, Cantarella is able to deal the same amount of coordinated attacks considered as basic attack damage. But a major difference would be that Cantarella deals a burst of damage before casting her coordinated attacks, though it can only be considered as a major difference depending on exactly how much damage the initial burst of damage is capable of, which I suspect should be a considerable amount since it does scale off basic attack damage, but we will need to wait to see in game in a few days to confirm whether it really makes Cantarella's liberation that much more better overall than Zhezhi's. Now moving on to the intro skill, just like Cantarella's other abilities, there will be different variations of the intro skill depending on whether she is in Mirage. Activating the intro skill outside of Mirage will simply allow Cantarella to deal havoc damage and can immediately pop basic attack 3, which essentially allows her to gain 2 stacks of trance instantly from the final basic attack hit and the intro skill. Whilst in the Mirage state, the intro skill triggers 3 coordinated attacks dealing havoc damage and resets the Phantom Sting basic attack combo, which again would be quite valuable for someone like Jianxin. Now as for the outro skill, as expected it does amplify havoc damage by 20%, but interestingly enough will also amplify resonant skill damage by 25%. So this skill will allow Cantarella to synergize with havoc characters to no surprise, but also characters such as Changli, Carlotta, Jin, and alongside Jianxin specific extremely well. Although it does make Cantarella a bit too similar to Zhezhi, as both are sub DPS characters able to deal coordinated attacks considered as basic attack damage and amplified resonant skill damage. Of course there are some differences, but it does mean Cantarella might not be as valuable to someone that already has Zhezhi and other characters that can amplify resonant skill damage. Finally, as for the inherent skills, nothing out of the ordinary given they increase Cantarella's healing bonus by 20%, alongside havoc damage bonus up to 12% when casting echo skills. So they do allow Cantarella to be a much more reliable healer and provides a damage increase that should have solid uptime, given Cantarella does have multiple abilities that are considered as an echo skill alongside the echo skill itself. So that would wrap it up for Cantarella's full kit breakdown, and now just going over the signature weapon. To no surprise, it will be extremely valuable for Cantarella and will be the best in slot, considering the base stat provides a massive 72% crit damage just like Zhezhi's weapon, along with the passive increasing attack by 12%, and when casting an echo skill within 10 seconds after casting an intro skill or basic attacks, it grants 1 stack of Gentle Dream, stacking up to 2 times and lasts for 10 seconds. Although echoes with the same name can only trigger this effect once, which essentially means Cantarella will need to use one of her abilities considered as an echo skill alongside the echo itself. Now with 1 stack of Gentle Dreams, Cantarella's basic attack damage increases by 40%, and with 2 stacks, Cantarella ignores 12% of enemies' havoc resistance. However, since the effect ends when switching to another character, it pretty much means the weapon amplifies Cantarella's on-field damage and not her off-field damage. So abilities like Deliberation and Enhanced Resonance skills will deal significantly more damage, allowing Cantarella's DPS to likely be more reliable than someone like Zhezhi's. Therefore, the signature, again to no surprise, will be great for Cantarella. But the major downside to it would be the weapon's passive is extremely niche, given no other character can fully utilize the passive, and especially since there is no other Havoc Rectifier character. So it wouldn't be the greatest investment for your account, but of course it would be amazing for Cantarella. Fortunately enough, there are other amazing rectifiers such as String Master, Rhyme Draped Sprout, Cosmic Ripples, and even the Augment that are viable alternatives, especially with Rhyme Draped Sprouts providing the same base stat and increasing basic attack damage through the passive. It would be a great alternative and would allow Cantarella's off-field attacks to in fact deal more damage. So personally, if you do either have the String Master or Rhyme Draped Sprouts at least, then you shouldn't feel that inclined to pick up the signature weapon. Although if you are utilizing multiple rectifier characters within your main team that you would use in Whimpering Wastes, then it would be fair to consider picking up the signature only if you don't have any other options. Overall, Cantarella is going to hold a lot of long-term value without a doubt, but as I have mentioned in the previous video regarding Cantarella, she doesn't exactly hold the most value as of now, since the main DPS she is made for isn't out yet and there are multiple characters that can already amplify resonant skill damage. So if you do already have characters such as Brant and especially Zhezhi, Cantarella wouldn't provide that much value to your account. Of course, if you don't, then she will be able to synergize with DPS characters that can deal lots of resonant skill damage, and especially for Jinxin. Just like Zhezhi, Cantarella is simply releasing ahead of the DPS she is made to support, and so with that, you can either choose to pick her up now to reduce the pressure you'll have for when she returns with her dedicated DPS, or you can simply skip and pick her up then, which you may want to consider when characters such as Shorekeeper, Zani and Kartithia are around the corner. Of course, if you really like Cantarella's design, which I assume a lot of players do due to obvious reasons, then it is your astrats to decide who you want to spend them on. Although with design aside, again Cantarella will no doubt provide great long-term value as a sub DPS / support, but you should only consider picking her up if you have enough funds for upcoming characters, along with if you are in need of a sub DPS that can specifically amplify resonant skill damage. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe for more WutheringWaves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also drop a comment down below on whether you will be pulling for Cantarella alone or with a signature weapon. And yeah, I hope to catch you guys later.